Good morning, Coach.
Yeah,
Yesterday you had a number of first and second year players step up. After watching the film, how important was that? And then how crucial will those guys be down the stretch for this team to become what you think they can?
well, I think to answer your second question, I think it's vital. That the transition period, you don't have 2 or 3 years to wait for their progress, um, and it was a game where we saw a lot of young players step up and make plays, and I think we got to continue to play them. And um, that whole thing about confidence, when a guy has a play or has a game and he's young in our league and has success, then you can kind of see it propel him very quickly. So, but I do think it's important that the contributions are coming not just from the veteran players, but also the young players that we feel like are ready to play.
Chris Thomas in the Gazette.
Yeah, hey Sean. Dobbins had a number of nice runs around the left side yesterday. Just your thoughts on how Palcho is doing at left guard, and do you feel good about him being kind of most of the rest of the season solution, depending on Powers' health, obviously.
Yeah, let's just talk about now. Man, he's doing a real good job. He's physically smart. Um, the experience he's had as a player over the years, you know what you're getting, and there is a great value to that. Some of those plays to the left came, they were kind of maybe check with me runs, right versus a certain look, left versus a certain look. But I thought overall we blocked them real well. And boy, it sets up a lot of other things when you're able to do that.
Eric Talala, DenverBroncos.com.
Hey, Coach, you talk about that race to improve. What things have maybe stood out to you as areas where you guys have gotten better that has allowed you to win these last five and gone on this little streak here?
Um, Man, there's a number of things. Yesterday was the first day where our CFL numbers were good. In other words, we were getting first downs offensively on first or second down. In that league, you're punting on third down, so that was important. I think defensively, I said this. It was a big test based on the skill and the different weapons Dallas has, and I think we did enough to make the quarterback feel a little uncomfortable in the pocket. There's two ways you disrupt a passing game. It's either at the line of scrimmage with the receivers in the coverage you're playing, or with the pass rush. And I thought we did a really good job of mixing up looks. I thought Vance and his staff did a really good job of giving him a certain look one play and then another look the next play, and that made a big difference, I think, in their efficiency.
Parker Gabriel, The Denver Post.
Hey, Sean. Obviously, when it's the defensive player of the year, if you're obligated to ask, is there anything you're willing to share on Pat's status?
No, nothing to update you guys today on.
And then with up 20 late in the game, is that a situation where there's conversation about whether Marvin should be back there returning a kickoff?
Absolutely.
Easy to say in hindsight.
No, absolutely. Fair question. And we made a substitution. I know Riz was trying to send in Tyler for Marvin. Somehow the communication failed. Tyler went in for RJ. But fair question. And yeah, right at that stage of the game, you're trying to be smart.
Darren McKee, Altitude.
Coach, couple things real quick. Why was it important for you to start with the ball on offense? And it was noted by quite a few people you didn't wear throwback gear. I was wondering if you had an explanation.
Let's start with your second question.
Okay.
I'm like everyone. I grew up on the throwback uniforms. I love the throwback uniforms. So when I got to work, I usually get to the stadium super early, and I said, Flip, the navy blue pants don't match the throwback. We need either an orange or that Bronco blue, that old blue as a pant. And so I struggled with the navy and then the throwback on the top. So I just kind of went tradish. But make no mistake about it, I'm probably the biggest fan of the throwback sweats, colors, and I listen. I wanted desperately to wear it. I just hate the match with the navy bottom, so we need to work on getting a lighter blue slack, or even I'd sport an orange slack if it was the right color. And then the question before that was taking the ball.
Yes, yeah, taking the ball, yeah.
I look, a real good offense we're playing. I wanted it to be a little bit of a message to our offense relative to starting fast, and to our team. And so, when the night before in the meetings, when you know that Dallas has deferred X amount of times, and then if we're going to take the ball, you can kind of tell your players, look, this is how the game is going to start. We're going to be on kick return. And so it's one of those times where I felt that it was important.
Mike Kliss, 9 News.
Yeah, Sean, this game coming up features 2 quarterbacks that were ready from the jump after college. In your case with Bo, how much did you adapt your offense to Bo? I assume you didn't have too many RPOs with Drew.
Yeah, look, we've talked about this subject a bunch. I think quite a bit. Absolutely, you move in a direction that suits your players. So I think that's just good coaching and being smart. So trying to find things they're comfortable with. Over the years, we've seen that take place even at other positions, but particularly at quarterback. So to answer your question, yes, quite a bit.
Nick Kosmider, The Athletic.
Hey, Sean, I'm just curious your impression of what Malcolm Roach has brought to the run defense since his return. It looked like there was a play late in the second quarter. They had a 2nd and 1 where he kind of creates upward pressure that stalls that run. I'm just curious what you've seen on film for how he's done.
Yeah, it's been good. To have him back in the lineup, there's so much you get with him. And so oftentimes I spend too much time talking about his juice, his energy, his upbeat personality. You guys have covered him now. He rarely has bad days, and he brings it's like this infectious personality. And then on the field, obviously, he plays extremely hard. He's got good football IQ and instinct, so he can kind of anticipate things prior to them happening. We're better when he's in our lineup and in our rotation, and certainly glad he's with us.
Thanks.
Jeff Legwold, ESPN.
Sean, I'm curious, given Pat's abilities, do you have to be less aggressive on defense when he's not in the game? And how did you think Abram Drains did yesterday after looking at it?
I think how we played was outstanding when he wasn't in, and look, that's a big deal, especially when a large part of your plan is dealing with rotation and matchups, and and you're dealing with 3 and 88, and then all of a sudden, that one element goes away. It can be a little bit disruptive, but I thought Chris did a great job. The whole lot of them did when we went without Pat, and we continued to play a handful of the coverages, and yet Vance did a good job adjusting. So that was very encouraging.
Coach, that appears to be all the questions we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining.
All right, thank you.